Welcome to Trinity Smokers channel. I'm Seth Farmer, and tonight we are prepping for a smoked salmon on the hybrid offset tomorrow. So just stick around and I'll show you how I make it. All right, so this smoked salmon consists of a curing process that we're gonna do. And the first thing we have to do is add our ingredients and put it on the salmon. So we have brown sugar here. You can use light brown sugar, dark brown sugar. I just happen to have dark brown sugar on hand, so that's what we're using. That's 1 cup of brown sugar. Then half a cup of kosher salt and 1 tablespoon of black pepper. Mix all the ingredients in this bowl, get them incorporated really well, and then we'll go to the next thing. So first, the brown sugar, then kosher salt, 1/2 cup, and a tablespoon of black pepper. Okay, then you just use your hands and you're gonna incorporate this really well. Just make sure to mix it all really, really good. You don't wanna have clumps or anything like that of brown sugar. Make sure it's distributed evenly because this is the mix we're going to use to sprinkle on the underside of the salmon and on top. This is our salmon. You want to make sure to get about a 2.5 to 3 pound salmon, somewhere around there. Again, this is a recipe that I found that I really like. It does take some prep work, but it's really simple. So again, our salmon is here and we're going to undo that. Okay, like I said, make sure to have the skin on. If you don't have the skin on, it's not going to work out the way you want it to. We're going to cure this overnight. And we're gonna try to get all the moisture out, all the water out of it. So first thing, we're gonna take our mixture that we have here, and half of it we're gonna lay down here on this baking sheet, and that will be the skin side down. Just kind of drizzle it over here. All right, just do about half the amount. Yeah, so you just want to make sure that your salmon, if it's a little long, you can cut it off, because you just want to make sure that when we fold it up, we use plastic wrap, and we're going to fold it up really tight, put it back in the fridge to get all the moisture out, and that's going to cure it for, like I said, about 8 to 10 hours. So yeah, you can cut it off the end if you need to. I actually had to cut off the end of this salmon. So we're going to go skin side down. We've already put a lot of the mixture already there. So skin side down. You're gonna take your bowl and you are gonna scoot this towards yourself. This remaining mixture, you're just gonna do it all along the top. Again, I found this recipe and I really like it. It's really simple. I kind of modified a few little things with temperature and ingredients, but overall, this is a really simple recipe. The family loves having salmon, so we're gonna have a Sunday evening salmon. Again, starting this on a Saturday. So this takes, again, the day before you need to prep this. This is not, hey, I'm gonna go get a salmon and cook it that evening. You gotta have a little bit of forethought, but once you try this, you're gonna wanna do it all the time. It's really great. Okay, my cat is meowing in the background. That's nice. Hey Zelda, what's up? Now that we've got all of our mixture on here, the cure that we're going to use for this, we want to wrap it up in plastic wrap, put it in the fridge. We're actually going to weight it, and I'll show you how to do that. But first, we're going to wrap it. You want to get a pretty good seal on it, so I first like to fold it towards, and I put 3 pieces down just to make sure nothing leaks out too much. So you're going to fold it pretty tight here. Okay, won't really well. And so now we'll kind of push it down, make sure we get it all together because we want to keep this thing really nice and tight. Okay, so now that this is all pushed down together with the plastic wrap, we're ready to put this in the fridge, but first we want to weight it down. So I just got an identical pan. I like to put it right on top like this. This is not going to be heavy enough, So I like to get like a cast iron skillet or something that's pretty substantial, pretty beefy, heavy. And you're gonna put it right on top. And you're gonna put this in the fridge, again, 8 to 10 hours, and we'll come back and check on it, and then we will start the process from there. All right, it's the next morning, and we've taken our salmon out. It's been about 9 hours, maybe a little bit more than that. I've taken it. You want to take it out of the package very carefully, and you want to rinse all that off. Make sure to do a really good rinse. If you don't rinse it all off on the salmon, it's going to be really salty, and you're not gonna like the final product. So rinse it completely, transfer it back on your cookie sheet or your baking sheet, and we need to pat it dry completely. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to pat it dry. Get a paper towel. Just pat it dry the best you can. The underside as well, that's why I've laid it down on a paper towel. Just keep patting it dry because we want to get all of the moisture that we rinsed it off with. After we rinsed it, it's going to be completely wet, so we want to get all of that moisture off. But again, I'm going to reiterate this. You need to rinse it off well. If you don't rinse it off well, you will be very unhappy with the final product. So rinse it well. Okay, so after we've patted it dry, we're going to transfer it onto a raised rack here that's going to allow for airflow to get underneath because we're going to put this back on in the refrigerator. We're going to put this back in the refrigerator, and this thing's going to form a pellicle, which is a protein that rises to the surface. This is going to help us when we put it on the smoker get smoke adhering to the surface of the fish. So we want this tackiness called a pellicle to form, airflow to come through here, and we're going to take this off at about 4 p.m. this afternoon, so it's going to be in there, close to 8 hours or so. All right, so we've just recently taken this salmon out of the refrigerator. It's been about 8 hours in the refrigerator, and it's really looking beautiful. It's formed the pellicle that we're looking for, so it's really gonna take the smoke flavor once we put it on the offset. Okay, so I wanted to show you how I start this up. Of course, we need to add our pellets. I'm doing post-oak pellets today, and we have to make sure it's plugged in. And we need to get our temperature set. I'm setting our temperature today at 180 degrees. And I push start here and it gets it all started. Once it's started and the flame is going, you're gonna put some wood right on top. I'm using pecan right now, and I don't want a ton of smoke flavor because we're smoking a salmon. So I just wanna put one small chunk at a time. We'll close this down and get up to temperature. I am using a water pan because I want to make sure that there's enough moisture in this cook chamber for the salmon when we put it on. This looks great. I'm going to set this right in the center, right here. And we got our water pan. Everything looks good. 180 degrees, probably about 3 hours. We'll come check on it in about 2 hours. We're just getting a little bit of smoke from this pecan wood. We kind of want it to just smoke a little bit. We don't want it to get, we're not trying to use it for our heat source. We're really just using the pellets for that heat source. So I just pulled this salmon off the smoker. It's temping right at about 145 degrees, which is what I'm looking for, maybe a little bit more. But yeah, we're ready to eat. So let's do it.